I have another crack at the £120 Hickory Warbow. This is one of my best bits of hickory. It's too short to make a bow out of one piece, so it'll be spliced at the grip. But you can see how lovely and straight the grain is. I don't necessarily need to follow this line, but that's the sort of line of straightest grain. And I'll show you what it looks like on the end. There you go. And if I cut out a bow sort of tapered from this edge, say shallow at this end, deep at the other, and then across like that, or effectively cut a big parallel strip, then slice across slightly diagonally, I'll have two tapered limbs. I sharpened my plane, which made it much easier to clean up. Pig to try and clean it up with a blunt plane. Well, it wasn't blunt, it was relatively sharp. But you can see the grain from this edge is pretty good as well. I haven't taken out all the rough cuts from when it came out of the sawmill. A little bit of gentle curve in it, but I reckon that might have the makings of a war bow. But I'll make it as long as the longest Mary Rose one. And I've ordered some fancy structural epoxy that might be good, available in small quantities. The problem with the usual epoxies that people use, you can only buy them in big quantities that cost you about 50 quid, which is fine if you're making job lots of laminates. But for the one-off, a bit pricey. I could do cascamite like I've done before. I just thought I'd try something new, because if I can find an epoxy that's useful for other bowyers, then I can publish and let everybody know. I could use Titebond, but Titebond isn't gap filling, which for a splice is quite a useful thing. If you hang on, just bear with me boys and girls, I'll go and show you me frog spawn. There's M's. I'm doing Baskingtons, everybody. Bask, bask. So I've glued up my lovely two billets of hickory. I actually got lucky because I was trying to rough it out. It's got a thickness taper on it already, and I roughed it out to the sort of thickness of the 120 pounder that exploded, allowing a little extra for good measure. And then I realised, hang on, this is going to be longer. I should have made it thicker. But then I realised I'd made a mistake. Fortunately, I'd roughed it out to that bigger dimension rather than the thickness. So I've actually got plenty of thickness there now. It's not often a mistake errs to the side that is an advantage. I also thought I'd try a different glue, and ages ago I'd been looking at alternatives, and this is one I've looked at before but never bought, so I thought I'll give it a whirl. It's quite expensive, so it was 15 quid for that, but that was with postage as well. It's cheaper if you can get hold of it sensibly. It was supposedly another 15 quid for a fancy applicator that grips in there and pushes down those twin syringes. But all I did is I got a screwdriver, pushed it down one to squirt out enough, what I thought was enough, and then pushed the same amount of screwdriver down that side, and it worked a treat. Obviously I took the nice cap off it, but I didn't use the fancy helical mixing nozzle So I thought that's just going to waste a load of glue in there. Oh, here we are. I just squirted it into one of those little plastic tubs that you get with your Indian takeaway that's got mango chutney in it. Mixed that up. And it's interesting because it's a different colour to the usual resins. It's sort of dark brown and absolutely stinks, and it's supposed to be a wear gloves, don't get it on your hands job. And it's supposed to be very good. It'll stick things that don't like sticking, like carbon fibre and stainless steel and Lord knows what. But I'll report back, and if it's a good Bowyer's epoxy, I'll let you all know. But £120 Warbow should be a damn good test. I'll allow plenty of length as well. I've gone a bit over the longest Mary Rose bow, but obviously it will get trimmed down, but that's what I'll do. I'll pretty much make it that size. And I've got a rough idea from the previous incarnation. Hopefully I can get fairly close fairly quick, although I'm sure you know I don't believe in trying to make bows by numbers, but we'll see. Ah yes, the other thing, I went for a Z splice with 6 inches overall length, so you end up with 3 glue lines. So I did the arithmetic to work out how much surface area of glue I've got, and it's about 157 square centimetres, which actually works out as that much. That's quite a good glue area, so hopefully that will do the job. Cutting the Z splice took a lot of fiddling and fettling, but when you get it pretty close, you just put the two bits together, give it a clonk on the floor, and it grips pretty hard. And one of these fingers was sticking out a bit. There was a bit of a gap on one of them, but just light clamping ensures it should glue up nicely. That was done at 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. It's now 10 past 10 the next morning, and the glue's gone rock hard. It's the usual thing though, it's supposed to have 24 hours to go off, but the strength keeps increasing for up to 72 hours. But I'm not going to be stressing it. I can saw it out before 72 hours, but I won't put it on the tiller and heave on it until then.